At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A couple of weeks after Giannis Antetokounmpo said he wanted to see an organization all in on winning, the Bucs made a huge move to do just that. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Milwaukee's acquiring Damian Lillard from Portland in a 3-team trade. Deal also includes Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton to Portland, Yusuf Nurkic among 4 players going to Phoenix. By adding Dame, the Bucs, the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
This team is not only favored of coming out of the Eastern Conference right now and is going to win the East, but this team stay healthy with the pieces they already have. Adding Damian Lillard to this roster, they're going to win the NBA championship.
More on this story throughout the day on ESPN Radio. Michigan State's fired football coach Mel Tucker for cause. He's under university investigation for a sexual misconduct complaint. By firing him for cause, Michigan State's attempting to not pay Tucker any of the nearly $79 million remaining on his contract. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young on track to return from the sprained ankle Sunday against Minnesota, barring any setbacks.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Thursday, I'll tell you what's at stake in a weekend full of huge divisional matchups. It's unsportsmanlike 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser,
man. Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Saints have added a quarterback.
Hump day.
Yeah, Derek Carr ain't playing.
It's hump day.
Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin on the SEC teleconference.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Neither excited to be there.
Hump day.
Regrettably, we'll let you hear some of it.
It's hump day.
We got Russ Mitchell in hour 3.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We got Greg Auman next hour.
Hump day.
He covers Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers.
It's hump day.
Saints play the Bucs.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Sunday in the Dome.
Hump day.
We got Pluckers Trivia.
It's hump day.
We got Overrated, Underrated.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We got Bourbon Dictionary.
Hump day.
We got a ton to do, so let's get to it. Glad you're aboard with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. Let us begin today as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So we were jam-packed on the show yesterday. We had so much going on, and as the show was developing, many of you saw a tweet, and many of you passed said tweet along to me, and it was about a guy who we have oft criticized here and oft waited for the moment that he would be gone forever. I'm looking at you, Danny Braywick, Garrett Pizzolato, Michael Moore, Mike M., Vino Frazier, Spencer Sanborn. These are just the ones that texted the show immediately after the news broke that Tre'Quan Smith had been released by the New Orleans Saints. Muse, I know normally this is what we do. Whenever there's a player that we send away to the island, we send them away with the sounds. This was the claymation.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
the claymation Rudolph movie, the Island of Misfit Toys. And so over the years, we've sent so many players there. Players that came in like Kobe Fleener, Jarris Bird, wasted draft picks, wasted money in free agency. But Muse, kill the music. Kill it. We already sent Tre'Quan to the island. You know what he did? Tre'Quan escaped the damn island. Like Sean Connery in The Rock. Welcome to The Rock. Like he ran away from the island. When you go to the island, you get a one-way ticket. You never come back. You're gone forever. And I'll be damned. The Saints sent Tre'Quan to the island last year, and he escaped the freaking island. And he came back to New Orleans, and you know what they did? They gave him $6 million to come back. But now he's gone forever! Yeah! So long, Tre'Quan! Our long nightmare is over! Never to be heard from again!
Are you sure?
Shut up, Muse! Don't kill my moment!
You just got through saying how we've done this before.
But you remember what happened a year ago, don't you, Muse? They cut Tre'Quan Smith. He was a free agent, free to sign with anybody. And there was one team, just one, that even gave him a workout, Muse. Remember who it was?
Actually, I don't know.
It was the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, that's right, it was.
You know who the GM of the Atlanta Falcons is?
I do.
Who is it?
Fontenot.
It's Terry Fontenot. Where did Terry Fontenot come from?
Saints.
So Terry Fontenot was part of the organization when they drafted Tre'Quan. They said, bring him in. Let's give him a workout. Just kick the tires. And you know what they did, Muse?
They didn't sign him.
They said, get out.
Yeah, they didn't sign him.
Get out. Get out.
But then the Saints signed him
again. And so you know what the Saints did? They said, come on back. We'll give you a 2-year, $6 million deal with $2 million of it guaranteed and more than $4 million in incentives. And you know what Tre'Quan did last year?
Not much. Yeah.
Nothing.
Not much.
Nothing at all.
Threw some great blocks.
Tre'Quan Smith, you got to be freaking kidding me. They brought him back when nobody, the rest of the NFL, Muse, told you. The rest, no one even gave him a friggin' workout. Not even a courtesy call. One team worked. It's your division rival whose GM used to be on your staff, who was here during the process that you drafted Tre'Quan Smith in the 3rd round. Only one that worked him out. Saints brought him back. And he rewarded you by starting 6 times, catching 19 balls for 278 yards. But he threw some damn good blocks.
He threw some great blocks.
Crank up the music for the blocks, Muse. Let's hear it for Tre'Quan and his ability to block downfield. Oh, my goodness. 2018, Muse. 2018 is when it all started. The Saints took Tre'Quan Smith in round 3 out of Central Florida. Picked 91 overall, and we thought, hey, this guy, big-bodied receiver, as a junior there at UCF, had 1,100 yards receiving, averaged nearly 20-yard reception. You know what we were all thinking?
Explosiveness.
Here it is.
Yep.
This is the deep threat. This is the deep threat that's going to replace Brandon Cooks, who you'd shipped away. You finally got your deep threat again, your speed demon. And you know what Tre'Quan did during his time in New Orleans?
Not much.
Nothing! 400 yards receiving as a rookie on 28 catches. His best season was the COVID year. Remember what happened in 2020? Michael Thomas, not available, out the whole year. Great opportunity for Tre'Quan to step up, finally earn that draft pick, the respect for that 3rd round draft pick. You know what he did? 34 catches, 448 yards. Marquez Callaway became your #1 receiver as an undrafted free agent. Last year, Michael Thomas out again for the season. Misses the whole friggin' year. Plays like 3 games and then a toe injury. He's done the whole year. You need somebody to step up. Who stepped up? Was it Tre'Quan Smith?
It was not.
It was not Tre'Quan Smith. Rashid Shaheed stepped up.
Heard of him.
Juwan Johnson stepped up. Undrafted free agents to the left and to the right step up. And the guy who you've been hanging on to like an albatross around your neck since 2018 just sat there catching a check. Started just 6 games a year ago. Former 3rd-round pick on his 2nd contract with the team. Your best receiver, all-pro, Michael Thomas out. Jarvis Landry out due to injury. You need somebody to step up. Did Tre'Quan do it?
He did not.
He stepped up the ladder into the cold tub, is what he did. He just stepped up the ladder into the cold tub. That's what he did. Deontay Hardy, better career in New Orleans than Tre'Quan Smith. Marquez Callaway, Juwan Johnson, Rashid Shaheed's on his way. Turn off your email, Muse. I heard it bing. But you know what? There is one redeeming quality that Tre'Quan Smith has, Muse.
His blocking ability?
He can block.
Okay. All right, we're still going back to that. All right, yeah.
And you know who needs a really good blocking receiver down the field right now?
Who's that?
The Denver Broncos. The guy that drafted him. When you go lose and give up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins, you know what you need? You need a blocking receiver. That's what you need. Sean Payton, the cure to what ails you in Denver right now is waiting. One phone call away to your old guy you drafted back in 2018 who can't catch a cold, who lives in the cold tub, but man, is he one hell of a blocker downfield. All I know, Muse, hallelujah, he's no longer our problem. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's got to be the Saints' mantra right now. Tre'Quan fooled you once, you fooled yourself the 2nd time. Don't you walk down this road again. Don't you do it, New Orleans. You sent him to the island and he found his way back. And now you've wisened up. It only took 5 years and now missing all of training camp with an injury. Again, living in the cold tub. For you finally to say, you know what? We got to cut somebody loose to sign a quarterback. Who should? Oh, the guy that never plays. Sean Payton on 2. So long, Tre'Quan. Fare thee well, Tre'Quan. Actually, I don't care how you fare. Just don't fare in New Orleans no more. Tre'Quan Smith. Go! He go! I've been waiting for 24 hours to do that, Muse.
Yeah.
Been waiting. Good luck, Tre'Quan. I wish you nothing but happiness and success in life and in the world. I mean that sincerely. I don't want ill for any human. I want him to do great things in life. I wish the best for him and his family and whatever may come next. I just don't want any of it to be in New Orleans. It's After Further Review. We're so glad to have you aboard with us. I love telling you about Bud Light, the great tasting beer that I just am so jacked up to. You know what? I'm chugging one right now in honor of you, Tre'Quan. There we go.
Shotgun it. Oh, you already opened it. Oh, you should have done it on air.
Oh,
you should have done it on air.
Should I have belched?
You should have belched on air.
By the way, we announced it yesterday. Thursday Night Football, October the 19th, Saints Jags. We will be, this is really cool. If you remember, a few years ago, we did an AFR watch party in New Orleans for a Saints game. Our friends over at Mockler Beverage are opening up the Slattery. If you're not familiar, I'm guessing many of you aren't, but all right, Muse, here you go. You want me to do it on air?
Do it on air. There it is.
That's so bad, Muse. Why would you have me do
Clip
that?
it.
Why would you have me do that, Muse?
Sound
God
effects.
dog it. Well, you can get a belching sound effect.
Not
You
as
don't need me to
authentic.
burp
You
on
need the
air.
authentic.
Well, you know, I just chugged that beer.
There you go. Proof.
Anyway, the Slattery is awesome. It's a bar that they have there on premise at Mockler. And man, it's gorgeous if you haven't seen it yet. I tweeted a photo of it, and it's on the 104.5 ESPN Twitter. There's video and photo. Anyway, it's awesome. I mean, it is like man cave, ballroom, sports memorabilia all over the place, full bar, TVs, everything, and it's on premise there at Mockler. So for that Thursday night football game, we're going to do a listener watch party. It's a contest, okay? So one listener is going to win, but the listener can invite 15 guests. So it will be catered, open bar. They'll have the game on the TV. Our friends at Mockler are also taking care of your ride. So be it Uber or however we have to make it work, we're going to make sure that you drink responsibly and you arrive safely. So they're going to take care of your Ubers or whatever you have to do to make sure that you all arrive safely. So it's going to be so much fun. Excited about it. We'll watch Thursday Night Football. I'll be there. Muse, I think, said he will. Muse, you're going to come?
I'm in. I'm
Muse is in.
absolutely
Paulie, are you in? Are you coming? Oh, look. Oh, Paulie.
So let me confirm with the wife first.
Got it. Understood. Okay. Anyway, if you want to enter, it's simple. All you have to do is text. Wait, hang on. I've tweeted what you had to text. It's hashtag AFR Watch Party. Hashtag text hashtag AFR Watch Party to 225-396-4400, 396-4400. It's our show text line. Just text hashtag AFR Watch Party to 225-396-4400. You can only do it once. You can only enter once. Like, don't text me 10,000 times. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you do, just once. And every name will be entered into the drawing. We'll do a drawing in a couple of weeks, and we'll announce the winner. So looking forward to it. Again, for Thursday Night Football, Thursday, October 19th, catered food, open bar at the Slattery at Mockler. It's going to be so much fun. We're looking forward to it. Good luck, and drink easy with Bud Light in Louisiana. Okay, it's after further review. Quick break. Had some fun there. Taylor Calandro in about 30 minutes. We got a ton to do today. When we come back, Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, we're on the SEC Coaches Teleconference today, updating their team's preparation for this weekend's game in the Dome. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Speaking of safety, of course, it is Child Passenger Safety Week, and Gordon has taken the opportunity this week to highlight Child Passenger Safety Week with great tips of how to keep your child safe. If you need child seat and child care information like that, he's got it, and some of the laws and all the information there on his social media. Gordon does a great job on his social media giving tips, info. One of the TikToks I saw yesterday also was a great it was Gordon giving what to do in the event that you're in an accident, like the steps to take in the event that you're in an accident, if you're hit, if you hit somebody. Anyway, just make sure you're following all of Gordon's social. Any social media account, it's at Get Gordon. You'll see it all right there. Follow him. And, of course, if you're in an accident, you need representation, do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
The best.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Well, really big challenge for us Saturday. Great team coming in, one of the best offenses in the country, and these guys have phenomenal players everywhere you look. So we're going to have a great home crowd. We're going to have to play really well, and we're excited about the challenge.
Lane Kiffin on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. Just a couple days away before LSU's wheels up to Oxford to take on the Rebs. Of course, the last time LSU was in Oxford, they came up short. That was a pretty embarrassing day for LSU as the Rebels really took it to LSU. If you remember, that was the day where Damone Clark made what felt like every tackle. He made one of the most spectacular plays when LSU was getting their head kicked in, where he chased down running back to the pylon and crushed the running back. Who was that running back? Do you remember offhand? See if you can find that for me. I can't remember right now. But anyway, Damone Clark made an awesome play and forced a fumble right there by the goal line. Just great hustle effort play. I remember we actually on a day where there was nothing to highlight, we literally opened the show Monday after that game, because I just highlighting that play because I didn't want it to get lost in the misery of that terrible loss in Oxford. But hoping for a very different result. The two programs are very different points right now than they were 2 years ago when LSU went to Oxford. Who was it?
Snoop Connor? Jerry and Ely?
It was Jerry and Ely.
Jerry and Ely?
Yeah, it was Jerry and Ely. So, and he was breaking away for a touchdown, and Damone just crushed him right at the goal line. So, great hustle play by Damone then. Anyway, all right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. I'll come back to what Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin had to say today in just a quick second. Really quickly, though, the first injury report of the week is out for Saints-Bucs. Keep in mind, Bucs played on Monday Night Football, so they just had a walkthrough today. The injury report is just an estimation. For Tampa, Carlton Davis, cornerback, was limited with a toe injury, and the rest of this list were all DNPs. Jamel Dean, Servassier Dennis, Kalijah Cansey, Derek Pitts, Vita Vea, and Devin White. So that's 2 defensive linemen, a nose tackle, three cornerbacks, and 2 linebackers with Servassier Dennis and Devin White. So, man, it's all defensive players. So 3 corners, 2 linebackers, and your nose tackle. So we will certainly be watching that. If you are the Saints offense this week, which is really struggling to get in gear, that is certainly welcomed. The fact that Tampa might be either short on players or at least limited. So we'll follow that as the week goes along. As for New Orleans, here were the DNPs. Well, we know Jimmy Graham, Ryan Ramczyk have been getting rest days, veteran rest days on Wednesdays all throughout the year. So again, Jimmy Graham, Ryan Ramczyk did not practice on Wednesday due to rest. Here's the rest of your injuries. We know Derek Carr, obviously. Jordan Howden did not practice with a finger injury. The Saints signed Daniel Sorensen back. That's clearly why. Cesar Ruiz with a concussion did not practice. Paulson Adebo did not practice. Foster Moreau also with the ankle injury did not practice. So worth keeping an eye on Foster Moreau for certain. Ruiz, in the concussion protocol, there are just standards that have to be met for him to be able to play. We know Derek Carr is likely not going to be available this week. The one that would feel the most able would be Jordan Howden. It's a finger injury, but it clearly was significant enough that he missed practice today and that they went and signed Daniel Sorensen as a just in case. So we'll follow that as the week goes along. But again, first injury report of the week is out for Saints and Bucs. All right, it's after further review. We'll get back to Kiffin and Kelly here in just a second. I want to remind you about Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. It is kind of funny. I get so many messages every day. Hey, Matt, what's that mold company you talk about all the time? But again, if you can't remember the name of the company or the website of any of our sponsors, always reach out to me. I'm happy to send you a link or remind you of who it is. I'm thrilled to do that, as a matter of fact. It means that you're listening and you're happy to patronize our sponsors, which I'm very grateful for. And, of course, Mold Zero, awesome. Jim Woodworth and the gang over at Mold Zero, great people. Jim was, he was a Air Force veteran who began his career in sort of disaster services and remediation. He was in New York post 9/11, came down back to the South. Part of his Air Force career was in Biloxi, but back into the South with the BP oil spill, and now owns and operates Mold Zero. So if you have mold, think you might, you can trust their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you have mold or odor that you can't get rid of or other pathogens, Mold Zero can help. Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com. All right, it's after further review. As I mentioned, Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin on the SEC Coaches Teleconference on Wednesday, as were all the coaches in the league. But they kind of updated preparation up until this point of the week for the game Saturday in Oxford. Here was Brian Kelly on going on the road again for the Tigers. This will be the second time in 3 weeks, and, of course, he'll be back on the road next week against Missouri.
It's much more about us in terms of the details and playing with that focus for 4 quarters. And as I said, you go on the road, you need a good team to go on the road with, and you have to have a mature team. And that's the challenge for our team, is to play with a lot more maturity, a lot more smarts. If we do that, we feel like we've made the progress necessary to go down and play in Oxford, Mississippi, which is a very difficult place to play. Lane is an outstanding football coach, and he'll have his team ready to play. They're coming off of a loss. So anytime you're doing that, you're getting a team that's very angry and hungry, so we'll have to match that and play with a great competitive edge.
Tigers, of course, played one true road game this year. It was the 41-14 win over Mississippi State. The Florida State game was a neutral game, but it was a partisan Florida State crowd. I'll remind you, last year in conference road games, LSU won at Auburn 21-17. They won at Florida 45-35, where they faced adversity in both those games. They won at Arkansas 13-10, and we know they lost the Texas A&M game. But LSU won 3 of its 4 road conference games a year ago, and in all 3 of them, they faced adversity. They were down to Auburn. The scoop and score at the end of the first half really kick-started them. They were down against Florida, and then the offense caught fire, and they ended up kind of blitzkrieging them there. Big day from Jaden Daniels with 349 passing. The Arkansas game, we remember what happened the week after Alabama. It was cold. There was no KJ Jefferson. The offense was just stuck in a rut all day, but they found a way to win. My point is, Brian Kelly in his true road conference games was 3-1 last year, and he's beaten Mississippi State. He's 4-1 on the road in the league. The only loss was laying an egg on the road against Texas A&M a year ago when you had still everything to play for in that moment. But I guess I look at it and I go, man, Kelly's message is clearly permeated that locker room when they go on the road. His processes of getting these guys ready to go on the road and play have taken, because it's hard to argue with the results in conference. As for Lane Kiffin, here's what he had to say about this week of practice so far for the Rebs.
It's been great. Guys are locked in, focused on a huge game, big rivalry around here. And, when the last time they were here, we won, and it was exciting. So trying to do the same thing again.
Our buddy Hunt Palmer, who is on before us here in Baton Rouge, tweeted earlier today, and I think this is maybe the best way that I've heard Lane Kiffin on the teleconference described. Hunt's tweet was, "That's the first time I've heard Lane Kiffin on the SEC teleconference. He sounds like he'd rather eat a box of rubber bands than take these questions." That's pretty good. Muse, you got to listen to it and cut all this audio. That's pretty apropos.
Yeah. There are coaches that don't want to be there, and then there's Lane Kiffin. It is a far into the spectrum there when the Lane train gets on the teleconference.
Well, for Brian Kelly, he was asked about some of the coverage busts, and one of the things that he was talking about on Monday, obviously, is the correcting the fundamentals. And one of the plays he pointed out was the Zy Alexander bust, and that's why if there's a reason I'm optimistic about this defense, we shared a little bit a day ago, which is I think, first of all, LSU's defensive front seven matches up really well against Ole Miss. Their offensive line, Ole Miss's offensive line has really struggled to help generate a running game and to protect Jackson Dart. But so I like LSU's defensive front seven against Ole Miss this week. The other part is what we saw week one against Florida State is not fixable. When Keon Coleman mosses your defensive backs, when their guy is just better, there's nothing you could do about that. Watching the Arkansas freshman tight end have a record day and Zy Alexander leaving him when he goes downfield for a 59-yard touchdown, those things are correctable. And so Brian Kelly and LSU clearly are working on those issues in zone coverage this week.
We're talking about fundamentals of alignment, starting there. And we've had many alignment issues relative to leverage, assignment, and tackling. We're talking about fundamentals that are taught from day one in Pop Warner, high school, to college. And so, these kids come in with a number of different techniques. They're allowed to do a lot of different things and freelance. We're trying to get them to be fundamentally sound, and we're working towards that end.
This will be a great test because one thing Lane Kiffin is masterful at is scheming an offense. I will go so far as say LSU is going to trail within the first 5 minutes of this game. The first time Ole Miss has the football, they're going to score points because Lane is brilliant at diagramming and sketching out the first, scripting the first 10, 15 plays, whatever it is, based on what you've shown on film. And LSU has shown a propensity to get beaten in zone concepts, and Lane's going to take advantage of that. How LSU adjusts during the game, I think, is going to be key, just like they did a year ago. But it's after further review. Much more from Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly earlier today. We got a ton. Russ Mitchell in hour number 3. We'll go down to Tampa. Greg Auman will be with us in 1 hour from right now. We'll get an update on the Bucs before they come to New Orleans this weekend to take on the Saints in the division battle. So we got a lot of football talk. Taylor Calandro in 15 minutes for Bourbon Dictionary. Get your booze questions in. You know the drill. Email us, tweet us, or X us at
Twitter. Not Twitter. Hey, X world.
At Matt Moscona. You can text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Bourbon Dictionary in 15 minutes. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Download the Rouse's app. Make sure you check out the delivery and curbside pickup options. This is really easy. Pull up the app, select the items you want. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. When you pull up into a designated spot, they'll bring them out to your car. If you spend $35, there's no charge for that service. If you spend more than $100, use the code SAINTS20, SAINTS20, and they'll give you $20 off of your order. That's awesome. So use the Rouse's app. Why wouldn't you? Love telling you about Rouse's every single day because of their commitment to local. Last month was down in New Orleans at a Rouse's media day that they had with all their media partners. And the thing that, if I heard it once, I heard it 100 times, their commitment to local. Their Rouse's branded products, they always start with, can we get this locally? When you go into their seafood market, all of their seafood, local. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Poll. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here. LSU freshman linebacker Whit Weeks might be your new favorite player. You may not know it yet, but he might be your new favorite player. Part of the player interviews, the media availability on Tuesday, Whit Weeks was made. It's so odd because for so long, freshmen were never made available to the media. And this is a great example and illustration of why it's a good thing sometimes that freshmen be allowed to talk. You know, Whit Weeks was a guy who was a blue chipper coming out of high school that everybody wanted. Of course, LSU had his brother West Weeks here as a transfer from Virginia. They get him, and we all had a lot of anticipation and expectation for Whit Weeks. I don't think anyone's expectation was that he would be starting the third game of his career on the road at Mississippi State. But not only did he do that, but he led your team in tackles, comes back last week, is second on the team in tackles in 9, and a nail-biting home win against Arkansas. And he has been awesome on the interior of that defense. So not only has he been great on the field, listen to Whit Weeks describe his first start in Tiger Stadium, and tell me if this isn't automatically your favorite player.
It's a feeling that I've never had in my life. Running out the tunnel, you can't even feel your body. Like last week against Mississippi State, the first play, I couldn't feel my legs because it was my first start, so I was real nervous, of course. And then here at home, I knew it was going to be a totally different ball game because, you know, it's a different level here than anywhere else. But, I mean, being out there, once I kind of got comfortable with it, the crowd was loud. It was awesome.
Oh, by the way, the second play of the game, he made a gigantic stop in the hole. So I don't know that it took him that long to really warm up to the moment. I mean, he's been sensational. But you also hear, like, the entire interview as he's there meeting with the media, he's got this gigantic smile on his face. It's just this kid who is eating up the whole thing. And he's got a great accent as well.
So I was real nervous, of course.
Of course. Is that McConaughey? He's a Texas kid, right? Is of course
Georgia? He's Georgia.
Oh, he's Georgia. Well, here, let me hear it again. Let me hear it again.
So I was real nervous, of course.
Real nervous, of course. Is it John Moxon? Who is that?
Moxon. That's not bad.
Is it John Moxon? It's nervous. Let me hear it one more time.
So I was real nervous, of course.
Nervous, of course.
It's strong.
All right, send me your. Who does Whit Weeks sound like? Play one more time.
So I was real nervous, of course.
All right, tweet me or text me 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Who does Whit Weeks sound like? One more time.
So I was real nervous, of course.
I was real nervous, of course. How do you not love that guy? Is he not the best already?
I mean, I love him.
I love him. I thought you were going to say something.
No, no.
Yeah, normally when you make sounds, you're trying to make
Yeah.
words. Yeah, got it. Okay. All right. It's After Further Review, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. You know what's amazing? And you've probably heard it said this way a few times, but it bears repeating. So often, you don't know how bad you feel until you feel good again. And I was in that number for a very long time. That's why we talk about hormone replacement therapy. When people start on HRT, it's life-changing. It's life-changing to feel good again. And then you realize how badly you felt before. Sometimes not even knowing it because you just get into the habit of feeling that way. You just think that's how you feel in life. And then you start to, I can remember the very first time when I started on HRT. My very first workout, it just felt like alive again, like I was productive. I felt strong. It was a great feeling. You sleep better at night. You wake up with more energy. It's a lot like when you're younger. That's the point, is to give you that youthful feeling again. As you age, and we all age differently, your body produces less of the hormones that contribute to how you feel. Hormone replacement therapy can help you regain that youthful feeling. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
Texas A&M!
But now you've probably heard quarterback Connor Wegman' foot injury, initially thought to be minor, way more serious. He's going to miss the rest of the season. Broken bone in his foot. It's going to take about 3.5 months to heal. He is done for the year. Former LSU quarterback Max Johnson will take over. Max, of course, started 14 games for LSU during his 2 years in Baton Rouge. Started 3 games for the Aggies a year ago.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy quarterback A.J. Swan questionable for the game against Missouri. Swan will be sidelined throughout this week with an elbow contusion. See if he's able to go on Saturday. The Doors face Missouri at 3 Central.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Status of running back Rocket Sanders and left tackle Devin Manuel in question ahead of their game against Texas A&M. Sam Pittman wasn't ready to commit to Sanders playing this weekend, but said he's getting closer. Manuel's a 6'9", 310-pound redshirt sophomore. Been dealing with a stinger that prevented him from being fully healthy. Only played about 75% of the snaps against LSU this past weekend. A&M, by the way, has won 10 of the last 11 between the two squads.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Kirby Smart provided an update on a number of injuries. Running back Kendall Milton and Roderick Robinson. Milton was able to practice a little bit on Tuesday. Robinson was in the training room, unable to do much. Defensively, Javon Bullard dealing with an ankle injury. He's missed the last 2 games. Michael Williams, the defensive end, missed the UAB game with an illness. And Ladd McConkey, the receiver, is yet to play this year, dealing with a back injury. We're trying to get him some work this week to see if he can make his season debut.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Defensive back Maxwell Hairston claimed another national award, the Jim Thorpe National Defensive Back of the Week, to go along with the Bronco Nagurski National Defensive Player of the Week and SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Hairston tied an SEC record with 2 pick sixes in the win over Vandy this past weekend. Kentucky hosts Florida at noon on ESPN.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Noon Eastern, 11 Central. And Aiden Sherrill has become the highest-rated center ever to commit to the Alabama men's basketball program. Sherrill's the first player to join the 2024 class and the 5th 5-star that Nate Oates has brought to Tuscaloosa. 6'10", his finalists were Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan State, the number 22 player in the country, the number 4 center for the class of 2024. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it's After Further Review. Taylor Calandro coming up next. We'll do a little bourbon dictionary. Got your booze questions. Get them in. We are getting closer to bourbon hunting season. I'm fired up for it. So email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter. Oh, no, not Twitter. Hey, X world.
You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat or text your question, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Last week, I monopolized all the time talking to Taylor, and I didn't ask any questions. I'll get all of your questions today. So when we come back, we'll do that next. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
And so excited to welcome Glow Resources to the AFR family. I've known Jareth Knockan for a while now. It's an awesome dude who runs a great business. It's been so fun to watch them grow. 30 years combined industry experience there at Glow. Glow Resources, it's GLO, glowresources.com. And by the way, it's not just in Louisiana. So I know a lot of you watch us or listen all over the country. Glow is a talent recruitment agency. So they help businesses and organizations grow by connecting businesses with exceptionally talented employees. And they can handle that entire process from beginning all the way to closing that potential employee that you'd like to hire, negotiating the entire thing. It's Glow Resources. Glowresources.com, both white-collar and blue-collar job. They got general recruitment services. They have professional placement as well. If you're hiring managers, they can help. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online, glowresources.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Baton Rouge Police Deputy Chief Troy Lawrence Sr. benched from his job today. He was placed on administrative leave as the department and the feds investigate allegations that people were tortured inside a warehouse known as the Brave Cave. The investigative unit first to break the story about Lawrence's leave this morning. Hear from the lawyer who brought the Brave Cave to light and the implications now. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel infinitely you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
Wrapping up hour number 1. Glad you're aboard with us here. Let's get your booze questions in. Taylor Calandro joins us. How are you, dude?
Matt, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Hey, play Whit Weeks for Taylor real quick. Who does LSU freshman linebacker Whit Weeks sound like? Hit it, Muse.
So I was real nervous, of course.
What do you think? I was real nervous, of course. I said McConaughey. I'm getting a lot of, let's see.
I saw that video earlier.
Who do you think you said? Mike Winchell. A couple of people saying it sounds like Mike Winchell, quarterback from Friday Night Lights. Forrest Gump. Taylor's. I don't know that I'm going Forrest Gump on that.
Man, I don't know. He's got like a molasses accent. Where's he from?
Georgia.
Yeah, it's not Texas.
Evan Bourgeois said it sounds a lot like Luke Bryan. Michael Godin said Luke Bryan. It's interesting because we're getting some people saying like they're saying the same thing. So
well, he's from Georgia and Luke Bryan's from Georgia, so that would make.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was real nervous, of course.
I was real nervous.
He probably whistles through his teeth on some work too.
So good. And when he's of age, no doubt, he will drink whiskey. So what's new?
Oh, nothing really new. I mean, we got some new allocated stuff, like the same stuff we talked about last week. McKenna, so a couple Elijah Craig Toasted, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Larceny Barrel Proof. We got that today. There was some left when I left about an hour ago, so check them out.
How do you get to leave work at 2:00?
I get to work at 6:00 every day.
Okay. Got it. Understood. Makes a lot of sense. All right, we'll get to your questions for Taylor. You know the drill. Email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Byford YouTube chat, or you can text your question 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Just dropped my pen. First one was from Sean said, ask Taylor, best drink to celebrate when a player gets cut who has been a total waste?
Who's he talking about?
Tre'Quan Smith.
Oh. Man, pop a bottle of bubbles. Get you a nice bottle of champagne, like a Veuve Clicquot or something like that.
I like it. And by the way, champagne, of course, is from, as I learned, the Champagne region of France. So there's a lot of bubbles that aren't necessarily champagne, correct?
Yeah. I mean, if it's champagne, it comes from France. But yeah, there's Prosecco, there's Cava.
Right.
There's different types of bubbles. But if it's champagne, it comes from champagne. Just like cognac comes from cognac France,
right.
too. I bet you didn't know that.
No, I did know that. I did know that. Well, there's cognac and there's like Armagnac. There's a lot from different. It's all based on where it's from. One of the Whistle Pig Boss Hogs, I think maybe 4. The Boss Hog 4. Was it the Black Prince? Does that sound right? It was finished.
Yeah.
It was finished in Armagnac casks, and it's one of the best whiskeys I've ever had in my life. It was magnificent.
I think I've had it, man, but those Boss Hogs are a blur. I've only had them one time each.
Yeah,
but they're all really good. Though.
They do a great. I mean, they're expensive. They've gone up dramatically in price. Yeah. But anyway, Nathan Hodge asked Taylor preferred Asian whiskey, and he says specifically Japanese.
My preferred is gonna be Yamazaki. I mean, we have 12-year on the shelf, and 12-year is kind of hard to find. The 18 years exceptional, which is nearly impossible to find. But Yamazaki for sure. If you can find a Yamazaki 12-year, it's about $130 or something like that. Pick it up.
Here's one from Jay who said, ask Taylor, I enjoy Michter's Sour Mash. What are some other good Sour Mash whiskeys I should try?
If you like Michter's Sour Mash, Old Elk did a Sour Mash a couple years ago that was really good. I'm trying to think of other Sour Mashes. I'm going to come back to that. But that Old Elk Sour Mash was fantastic from a couple years ago.
Greg Lehman asked Taylor, if you could only use one liquor for mixed drinks for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Good question.
Oh, vodka. It's the most versatile.
What if you know what's weird? Like, I don't like vodka. Maybe it's because it doesn't.
Yeah, but like one thing for the rest of your life, you're just looking for a vehicle to get drunk at that point. So vodka would probably be your best bet.
All right, fair enough.
That's the way I look at it.
Justin Wally, best bourbon to sip by a fire when it finally gets cold.
Man, there's a million of them out there. Why don't you try to get one of the allocated bourbons I talked about today? Why don't you try to get an Elijah Craig Toasted?
That is a magnificent choice.
Fantastic fireside sipper.
And Elijah Craig Toasted, by the way, it's their 94 proof Elijah Craig small batch that they just finish in a toasted barrel. So it's not easy to find, but when you can find it, I always recommend people get. What does that run, Taylor? What's MSRP on that?
65. No, I can't remember now. I think it's $70.
Yeah, it's less than $100. If you find it, it's totally worth nabbing a bottle of that. Glenn Laurie asked Taylor, best bourbon for a new drinker.
We get asked this question quite a bit. I always recommend Basil Hayden. Basil Hayden is a good intro bourbon. It's fairly inexpensive, $40-$50. It's 80 proof. It's got a lot of good flavor. Elijah Craig, 94 proof. Also great, like $32. You cannot go wrong with that. You're not going to spend a lot of money, and those are really good expressions of like straight bourbon.
We're shorted. Thoughts on Macallan single malt Scotch? That's from Manny.
It's the one of the best selling scotches on the planet. I love Macallan. It's a good Highland malt.
He is Taylor Calandro. Y'all get on by and see him. Say, hey, aren't you that guy from AFR? I think he gets that.
Dude, I met a dude from California that listens every day.
I love it, man. I believe it completely, man.
This past weekend.
Our audience outside of Baton Rouge is huge, man. I love it so much. All right, dude, we got to run. Thank you.
All right, Matt.
All right, be well. Sports Center coming up right after the top of the hour. Number 2, Saints add a quarterback. I got some thoughts on that next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You know, when we talk about Relief Windows every day, I always say windows, doors, siding. And now shutters as well. They do your indoor shutters. Same thing as the windows. Custom made, measured to fit your windows, custom fit for your windows, lifetime warranty on your windows, your shutters. But Brandon, you often hear say their number one product is customer satisfaction. And that's not just a catchy line. That's not a cliche phrase. Have an experience with Relief Windows and you'll understand. They go to the ends of the earth to make sure their customers are thrilled with the work they do. As a matter of fact, Relief Windows never takes $1 from you. You will not, no deposit, no down payment. They take all the risk. They will not take $1 until you're thrilled with the work they do. Who else does that? Only Relief Windows. Check them out online at ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, They've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Game time's over in Portland. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski's reporting Damian Lillard has been traded to the Bucs in a 3-team deal. Also includes Drew Holiday and DeAndre Ayton to the Blazers. Phoenix acquiring 4 players, including Yusuf Nurkic. The Bucs certainly showed one thing to superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo, explains ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
They increased their chances, very much increased their chances to stay relevant. If you look at what Giannis's words were when he gave those several interviews over this last month or so, what he said was he wanted to see an organization that was all in, 100% in on winning. I think the Bucs have already been there during his tenure. This only reinforces it.
Brian Windhorst on Carlin versus Joe. Michigan State fired football coach Mel Tucker for cause. He's under university investigation for a sexual misconduct complaint. By firing him for cause, Michigan State's attempting to not pay Tucker any of the nearly $79 million left on his contract. Dolphins receiver Jalen Waddle back at practice. If all goes well, he'll clear concussion protocol and play Sunday in Buffalo.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. Presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We're going to head down to Tampa at the bottom of this hour. Greg Auman will be with us. Get an update on the Bucs as Tampa set to come to New Orleans Sunday. And, it's a massive game for the Saints if they're going to keep this thing on the rails while Derek Carr is out, because you can look at what's ahead for New Orleans and you can really start to identify the games that you got to get. And Sunday, first of all, you're at home. You're at home in a divisional game, and you're at home in a divisional game against a team that's coming off a short week. This is one you got to get. Like, you've got to get this one at home against Tampa. And then when you look ahead, you're on the road back-to-back weeks at New England, at Houston, which C.J. Stroud is playing very well. And then you have a short week at home against Jacksonville. Now, you're at home on the short week, but that's still Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville, who I think we could probably say is the best quarterback you're going to face this year. I mean, there could be an argument to be made for Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford, maybe Kirk Cousins, but Trevor Lawrence at this point in his career might be the best quarterback you're going to face this year. So you look at what's ahead and you realize, man, Patriots, Texans, Jags, Colts, 3 of your next 4 are on the road, and the one that's at home is on a short week on Thursday Night Football against maybe the best quarterback you're going to face this year. You have to get this one at home against Tampa on Sunday. That's just not even a negotiable one. Saints are a 3-point favorite. But they get it. They'll have to do so with a backup quarterback. As Derek Carr, we learned with the sprained AC joint, is certainly unlikely. we all assumed he was unlikely to play this week, although they haven't completely ruled him out. But as we often say, actions speak louder than words, and the Saints signing Jake Lutton off the Panthers practice squad, it just screams so much more loudly than anything anyone might say this week. First of all, a few things about Jake Lutton, just as a reminder, and then I'll kind of get into what this means and how it may play out this week. So, the cool thing for Jake Lutton is because he was signed off the Panthers practice squad. Remember, if you sign a player from a practice squad, you have to sign them to your active roster. You can't sign them from someone else's practice squad to your practice squad. If you poach a player off a practice squad, you have to sign them to your 53. So the Saints are signing Jake Lutton to their 53-man roster. And the corresponding move, obviously, was Tre'Quan Smith. Bye-bye. And when you do that, you're guaranteed 3 weeks' pay. So for Jake Lutton, this is a great thing. He gets signed to an active roster. He guarantees himself 3 game day checks. Good for him. Lutton is a guy who kind of bounced around a little bit in college. He started his college career at Idaho, then went to community college, then finished his college career at Oregon State with the Beavs. He was a 6th-round pick of Jacksonville in the 2020 draft. And after he was drafted by the Jaguars, he bounced around a bit. He was in Jacksonville in 2020, his rookie season. 2021, he spent in Seattle for part of the year. Then he spent part of the year with the Dolphins in 2021 as well. Then back to Jacksonville in 2022 before being released and ultimately being signed by the Saints. He was released in camp and then signed by the Saints in September of 2022, and he spent the bulk of the season on the Saints practice squad last year. So Saints practice squad, then he was actually elevated to the active roster for a couple of weeks in October. And then after Jameis was injured, we know how that all went. And then he was waived and back on the practice squad. So basically, Jake Lutton was with the Saints all of last year. And then they waived him in May. And then he was signed by the Panthers to their practice squad. So the reason this makes a lot of sense, first of all, Lutton has started. He started 3 games during the COVID year, his rookie season. Started 3 games with Jacksonville during the COVID year. And he spent all of last year with New Orleans. So it's a guy that knows your coaching staff, knows your offense, knows the terminology, knows the personnel, knows the facility, the building, where to get around, how to eat, all that sort of stuff, where to stay, everything. Like, it's a very familiar, comfortable thing for Jake Lutton just coming right back to where he spent all of last year. Also, obviously, you're playing a divisional opponent. He was with Carolina, who's already played, who you've already played this year, obviously. So there's some things to like about bringing Jake Lutton in. Now, the sincere hope is you don't need to see Jake Lutton take a snap, but I get why they're bringing him in. Keep in mind, because the obvious questions could be, well, why not just have Taysom as the backup? Remember back in 2020 when Drew Brees got hurt. Brees got hurt in the game against the Niners in 2020. And Jameis came in the middle of the game when Brees got hurt. The next week, Taysom spent the week preparing to be the starter and started when Brees was out in 2020. And the reason is really twofold. Number one, primarily, then in 2020, Taysom hadn't spent that whole week repping the game plan for the 49ers as a quarterback. He spent the week preparing for his Taysom Hill role as a runner, as a wildcat quarterback, as a tight end receiver, special teams, all that sort of stuff. So that's number one. He hadn't repped. He hadn't repped that week as a quarterback. Number two is he's got great value in the Taysom Hill role. So if you spend all week game planning for Tampa this week with Taysom in his Taysom role, doing all the multitude of things he does, and then God forbid, knock on wood, whatever.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable.
Everything just reset. I'm gonna clear and reset. If you spend the game week with Taysom preparing for his role, and then all of a sudden something happens to Jameis and you move Taysom into the quarterback, number one, he hasn't been practicing quarterback all week. And then number two, you no longer have Taysom available to you in the role in the many multitude of things that he does. So I'm just playing out the scenarios. This is certainly not likely, and none of us want this to happen. You have Jake Lutton with you this week preparing as your backup. If something were to happen to Jameis, Jake Lutton would be your quarterback. In game, I mean. If something were to happen to Jameis this week, next week, my assumption is Taysom would spend the week preparing to be your starting quarterback, and Jake Lutton would be the backup, provided Derek Carr wouldn't be available. Derek or Jameis wouldn't be available. So you hope none of those things happen. What we all hope transpires is is that Jameis is healthy and has a great week of practice and goes and absolutely crushes it against his former team Sunday in the Dome and wins for the Saints for as long as he's the quarterback until Derek Carr returns. That's what we all sincerely hope happens. But if you're New Orleans, you have to prepare for every possibility. And if something were to happen to Jameis this week during the game while he's starting, you have to have an option. And the best option isn't taking Taysom away from his Taysom role. It's having another quarterback ready to go. So Jake Lutton apparently will be that guy this week. At least that's as it seems right now. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Saints did also add a safety. We'll get to that here in just a quick second. Remind you about South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Remember, for our Lafayette audience, there you listening on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen is there for you. Same great ownership group, just closer to you there in Southwest Louisiana. It's South Point Volkswagen. You want to shop them online, do it. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation that a vehicle can get. It gives me tremendous peace of mind every time I drive Drew to school in the morning and I buckle him into his car seat in the back of my Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. I know I'm driving him in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Every day when Erica pulls out of our driveway, she's driving a Volkswagen Atlas. She's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. Gives me tremendous peace of mind. Same for you, your family, your children, when they start driving. It's so worth looking into it. If you've never driven a Volkswagen, just go test drive one today at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? The other tidbit of news involving the Saints this week is that they made another roster move. So bringing on Jake Lutton, corresponding move was letting go of Tre'Quan Smith. Also, we found out Jordan Howden, the rookie safety, has a finger injury. He missed practice today. So the Saints have brought veteran safety Daniel Sorensen back to their practice squad right now. We'll see if he's elevated, if they need him to be. Hopefully Jordan Howden is healthy. The finger injury isn't an issue, and he's able to play this week against Tampa Bay. But Sorensen, you'll remember, spent his first 8 years in the NFL with the Chiefs, signed with the NFL with the Saints last year, was mainly a special teamer for the Saints last year. Played 319 snaps on special teams, just 164 on defense. So primarily a guy that helped you on special teams, but has played safety as well and gives you some depth right there. We all know the situation. Marcus May is suspended right now. So you went into last week with Tyrann Mathieu, Jordan Howden, Lonnie Johnson, who came up with a pick, JT Gray, Ugo Amadi. Gray is primarily a special teamer, as we know. So you need options, and Sorensen's a guy, again, who was with you all of last year. So someone familiar with your defense, your coaching staff, your terminology, the building, the opponent, all of it. It's very natural that he could just fit that piece of the puzzle if you were to need him this week. But hopefully Jordan Howden, that finger injury, resolves enough to the point where he's able to play this weekend. The corresponding move, by the way, is the Saints cut Kurt Merritt. So Kurt Merritt out to make room for Sorensen coming in. We'll see if this is just for this week or maybe just a few days if Howden's ready to go for Sunday. All right, it's after further review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. Bottom of this hour, we're going to head to Tampa. We'll check in on the Bucs with Greg Auman. When we come back, we'll let you hear a little bit more from Emory Jones, Logan Diggs, talking about getting ready to head to Oxford to play Ole Miss this week. And we'll do a little overrated, underrated as well. Glad you're here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge. ProCharge EV. ProChargeEV.com. It's becoming so common. And when you actually stop to pay attention to it, you'll notice. There's not a day that goes by, not a trip I make in my vehicle when I'm driving, where I don't see an electric vehicle on the road. They're everywhere. And not just Teslas. all of the American manufacturers, they are ramping up EV production, as many of you may know. And as a result, our government, our federal government, our state government is ramping up infrastructure for electric vehicles as well. I say it often. It doesn't matter if you like EVs, the power grid, and all things people talk about it. It doesn't matter. People are driving them, and there is more demand right now than there is product, so they're continuing to increase manufacturing. So there have to be EV chargers. If you own a commercial building, if you own a business, you got to have EV chargers. ProCharge is local. They can help. ProChargeEV.com. Online, ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here. I'll do overrated, underrated in just a bit. We're going to go down to Tampa, check in with Greg Auman, who covers the Bucs. That's coming up here in about 12 minutes from right now. Russ Mitchell in Hour 3 will recap with 2 segments for Russ. We'll recap last weekend. We'll look ahead to this weekend in the SEC, which, by the way, you get 7 league games. Everybody in the conference is playing a conference game this weekend. So really big weekend for the Southeastern Conference. One on paper that looks really tasty, including, of course, LSU going to Ole Miss. We talked a good bit yesterday about the LSU defensive front 7 and in what I think is the biggest matchup of the game on Saturday. It's going to be LSU, and this is going to sound sort of counterintuitive because LSU's secondary has struggled so much, but it's going to be LSU's defensive front seven and their ability to limit the Ole Miss running game. Because the Ole Miss running game has really struggled to this point. We talked about Quinshon Judkins, ran for nearly 1,600 yards last year as a true freshman, was SEC Freshman of the Year, was first-team All-SEC running back. He was awesome. So I know that the pass defense has struggled, but if LSU's able to continue to contain that Ole Miss rush defense, you make them one-dimensional. It looks a lot like the Mississippi State game did, where you're able to pin your ears back, go get Jackson Dart, and really make him struggle, make his day tough, which LSU was able to successfully do a year ago in this game, where Harold Perkins really changed. Even though his stat line wasn't great, the pressure changed the dynamic of this game. You wouldn't want necessarily teams to be a passing team against LSU, unless if you know they've got to pass in obvious situations, and then you can play soft zone, you can tackle soundly, you can rush the passer, all those things. It just shifts into your favor. So, but the other side of it, I think that's interesting, is going to be LSU's ability to run the ball against the Ole Miss defense. And Emory Jones met with reporters. Emory Jones and Logan Diggs both met with reporters, and I thought it was interesting listening to Emory Jones talk about matching up with the Ole Miss, the LSU offensive line matching up against his Ole Miss defensive line. Here's what he said.
Just kind of understanding their scheme, understanding the things that they do, understanding what they're going to do before they even do it. Having pre-snap recognition is going to be big this week. Kind of just knowing where their stunts and stuff are going to come from, where their blicks and stuff are going to come from is going to be huge for us, with building our run game this week. Remember,
Ole Miss hasn't exactly played the toughest schedule. Now, they did play at Alabama last week, but on paper, playing Georgia Tech in the non-conference is intriguing, but Georgia Tech's not a great team. They played Mercer and scored 70 on them, and then they had a really close call at Tulane. The final score is not indicative. I mean, that was a one-score game with 2 minutes to go in that ball game. Tulane was trying to get a stop, get the ball back, try to go win it, but they had gave a field goal, then a defensive score, and it looked way worse really than it was. That was a close ball game. But Ole Miss's run defense it's very similar to the LSU pass defense, and that it probably looks worse than it is statistically. Ole Miss's run defense this year is 57th in the country. They're allowing 125 yards a game. That's actually better than LSU's, which is 67th. Like we talked about yesterday, the LSU pass defense is actually better statistically as far as the national ranking than LSU's run defense is, which is kind of crazy to think. But they're both smack dab right there in the middle of the country. But that's where context matters and who you plays matter. So when Ole Miss has allowed that much rushing yardage against the teams they face, you would have to think there's opportunity there for LSU, and namely Logan Diggs, who obviously has who's been fantastic here to start his LSU career. And Emory Jones was asked about the transfer running back.
Explosiveness. Logan, he sees the holes and he bursts through them. And he's just been doing a really great job at getting through those holes and getting those dirty yards, getting those 2 and 3 extra yards after contact. So he's been doing a great job at getting us those dirty yards and making plays when we need them.
Speaking of, Logan Diggs met with reporters for the first time this season since the season started. Obviously, he's had a really good start, and now he heads onto the road for the first time for the second time now. Obviously, having won at Mississippi State a couple of weeks ago, where we got to see Logan Diggs play very well in that game against Mississippi State. Really, when he established himself as the lead running back on this team, now he's got to do it again on the road in conference play.
Playing in the SEC is tough, and especially going on the road playing in the SEC. So at the end of the day, I'm really confident in our offense. I'm really confident in the defense, and overall, I'm really confident in the coaches and in our preparation. At the end of the day, all we can do is focus on and control what we can control at the end of the day. And I feel like it's always going to be the way that we prepare. If we go out and prepare hard this week, the outcome going to show in the game. If we don't, then it's after the game, and we got to reflect on what we didn't and what we did do wrong throughout the week.
Of course, Diggs missed the opener against Florida State, but in the 3 games he's played, 38 rushes for 253 in 3 games so far, 2 of them conference games. Logan Diggs is averaging 6.7 yards per carry. you want the surefire way to go into Oxford and continue to churn offensively? Go average nearly 7 yards a carry running the football as a complement to that passing offense. Yeah, I think LSU's offense will have a fine day in Oxford if they can do that. Logan Diggs will be a huge part of it, obviously, as he's emerged as LSU's best, most complete running back, and he's going to have a big, big role this weekend in Oxford against the Rebels. All right, it's after further review. We're going to do overrated, underrated here in just a quick second. You want to bet on that LSU-Ole Miss game, you can do it. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, new customers make a $5 bet. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's that easy. And download the DraftKings Sportsbook app tomorrow, week 4 of the NFL. Remember, every single NFL game day, they got great 2 new NFL specials every day, every game day in September. So make sure that you take advantage of it on Thursday Night Football with the Packers and the Lions. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers, use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 NFL bet. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly, and all customers can take advantage of those great specials every NFL game day throughout September. So that the last NFL game day in September is coming up on Thursday. So take advantage of it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, let's do before we head down to Tampa, we got a few minutes here. Let's do a little overrated, underrated. Hit, Muse.
Overrated or underrated?
I personally think he's criminally underrated.
Overrated or underrated? What was that? Overrated or underrated?
Awesome.
The ice cream truck.
I'm going to say the ice cream truck is underrated. It's a bit nostalgic, I understand, but it's, number one, it's affordable, and number two, it's convenient. There's a lot of times where you'd love some ice cream, or you don't even know you'd love some ice cream, but you're not going to leave your house to drive to the store. Well, when you hear the ice cream truck coming down the street, you get fired up, and I understand it is a bit nostalgic. But there's also things in the ice cream truck you can't find in the store. You know those little like pops, those little ice cream things that are like the shape of a Bugs Bunny and the eyeballs are gum?
Yeah, those things are awesome.
I mean, can you get that at the store?
I don't think so.
I mean, I love Rouse's. You can't buy those at Rouse's. So, yeah, ice cream truck. Underrated.
Overrated or underrated, Jared Leto.
I don't know who that is.
He's an actor, singer. He's in a band, actor.
What band?
30 Seconds to Mars.
Don't know what that is.
You've probably heard one of their songs.
Probably so.
Probably.
I don't know their music.
But he's also an actor.
Overrated.
Okay.
Never heard of him. Overrated. Well, I've heard the name. I don't know who he is or what he's in or anything like that. Hence, he has to be overrated.
Overrated or underrated?
Right? I mean, if I don't know you, you got to be overrated.
Not necessarily. Isn't that kind of...
Kind of what?
Contradictory in a way? Like, when you know somebody who's overrated, you might not think they're that great.
Muse, we're short on time.
I'm just asking. Overrated, underrated, CrossFit.
Oh, overrated. What a terrible, terrible idea CrossFit is. Terrible idea. The injuries people have in CrossFit. I know there's people that love it, and God bless you if you do. But what you're doing to your body is unnatural and completely not worth it. There will come a day where you rue the day you ever did that. Don't do it. Don't do CrossFit. Take care of your body. Completely, horribly overrated.
It's overrated, underrated.
All right. That was good. You do CrossFit, Muse?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
No CrossFit?
I don't do CrossFit.
Okay. All right. After further review, we'll head down to Tampa when we come back next. Talk to Greg Auman, who covers the Bucs. Get a preview of how Tampa's doing coming off their Monday Night Football loss. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. I've been telling you, y'all, the guaranteed sale program is back and fired up for it. It's easy. If you need to sell your home, call Darren James. Sit down with him. He'll agree to a price and a deadline to sell your home. If he doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash or he'll sell it for free. How about this new listing from Darren James on Lori Lane in Denham Springs? Y'all, this is it's a home on 9.8 acres. If you've always wanted acreage, if you've always wanted a giant piece of land, this is a great opportunity, and it is affordable. Check it out, and it is listed with Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Remember the guaranteed sale program when you call Darren James, 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor, so you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast? All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front to back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Shout out to this listener on the text line who just said Jared Leto from Bossier City. Didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
The band's first sold-out show, I can't confirm this, but he texted, it was at the Varsity in Baton Rouge. And he played Steve Prefontaine in the movie Prefontaine, which I've seen, interestingly enough. He said he's a bad actor in almost every other movie after that.
Wow. Not a big Jared Leto guy.
I've heard this song. I don't like it. And
well, hey, I knew you heard it.
So Jared Leto. I confirmed. Overrated.
All right.
Okay. Is the NFC South overrated? Or maybe underrated? I mean, did 3 teams start 2-0? Everybody took it on the chin this past weekend, maybe all coming down to earth. Greg Auman covers the NFC South for Fox Sports, based there out of Tampa. Has covered the Bucs for a long time. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, Greg, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Hope you are too. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're doing really well. I'm not sure, Greg, what my expectation was for Baker Mayfield. I mean, I thought Tampa was just tanking this year in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, but they go out and they start 2-0. Based on whatever the realistic expectation was coming into the season, how have they been through 3 weeks?
I mean, probably one more win than expected, I would say. I mean, I think most people thought they could beat the Bears. But to go to Minnesota and win there, I mean, that's one of the, probably one of the 5 or 6 tougher games on their schedules. But Minnesota obviously has shown they're not the team that most people thought they were. But no, I think for Baker to do what he's done, just to have only 1 turnover in 3 games is kind of what they're hoping for. I think he's been a guy who can make plays but has trouble limiting his mistakes. So the challenge is to get him to do what he's done the last 3 games. I think they're dealing with some injuries right now, especially on the defensive side. But no, this Sunday's game is kind of a big one. The winner of Bucs Saints on Sunday in New Orleans, kind of can set themselves up as the team to beat in the NFC South, at least for the early going here.
How are they doing it, Greg?
I mean, they have a fair amount. I mean, I think everybody, understandably, saw that Tom Brady retired and kind of wrote him off. But, I mean, they have a ton still on this team from that Super Bowl team, especially on the defensive side. So I think it starts there. They're going to be a lot younger this year as a team. They're probably not as well insulated against injuries. But they, as much as there was like this outside low expectation, I mean, Vegas had them, I think, with the over-under at like 6.5 wins, one of the worst teams in the NFL. But in the building, I think it's one of those where most of the guys in that building came to Tampa one way or the other to win championships with Tom Brady. So I think they still have that high expectation, even if the outside doesn't. So, they have 2 straight division titles and 3 straight playoff appearances, and those are streaks that, you'd like to try and continue. As far as tanking, the problem with tanking is that, not that many people above the player level survive that.
Right.
And if you might get Caleb Williams or you might get Drake May or now Shedeur Sanders, but, it might be a new coaching staff to go with a new quarterback. It might be a new GM. So the people that are there very much thought they could compete and still want to compete for at least a division title.
Yeah, Greg, obviously Tom Brady gone, but we know that there's been injuries on the offensive line. Jensen, namely, we know Leonard Fournette's not there anymore. Be it what it may, that they brought in some aging tight ends, Gronk and then Rudolph. I mean, like, a lot of those offensive faces are gone, but they return some of those guys. Well, but I look and it's like averaging 290 a game on offense, just 78 yards rushing. Is there still explosive potential in this offense with Baker and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, some of those familiar faces who remain?
Yeah, I mean, I think those two is probably where it starts. And then you get 2,000-yard receivers. Yeah, you can go back to, Baker's best season is probably 2020 in Cleveland, where it gets them to go, playoff berth for the first time in ages, first playoff win in a long time. And they had a team that, again, had 2 dominant 1,000-yard receivers. That was Beckham and Landry. But it's kind of the same model as here. I think the defense he has here probably is a little better than what they had in Cleveland. The offensive line is probably a little worse. So it's not going to be, easy by any means. The Bucs, weren't that great a team last year. I mean, they're a division champ, yes, but they're 8-9, and they scored about 2 touchdowns a game less than they did the year before. So there's kind of room for improvement, even if you have to start with taking away a great quarterback like Brady.
Greg Auman is our guest. He's on Twitter at Greg Auman. That's AUMAN. Fox Sports covers the NFC South, based out of Tampa there. Knows a lot about the Bucs. Obviously covered the Bucs for a long time. You mentioned the injuries on defense. They just a walkthrough today, having played on Monday night, but man, it's all defenders. It's 3 cornerbacks. It's 3 defensive linemen. It's Devin White. Walk me through this, Greg. What is significant enough that it could impact Sunday in the Dome?
The 2 big ones, honestly, are the 2 corners. They're 2 starting corners, Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. Davis has missed the last 2 games with a toe injury. Dean had to leave in the middle of the Monday night game with a shoulder injury. So Dean's probably the bigger unknown. But, I mean, Davis, they listed as a limited participant today. He had practiced last week. Bowles kind of cautiously optimistic today. If he's back, that's a big help. That's one polished corner you can put out there and try and neutralize, maybe at least Olave on Sunday. Their depth at corner isn't great. They're very young. They got a second-year player named Zion McCollum who would probably step up if Dean can't go. And that exposes them a little bit. I mean, that means you have a young, untested player, likely lining up against, Michael Thomas on a regular basis. So now it really gets on the front to get some pressure on, it's probably Winston and not Carr, and get to him and not give them time to expose a vulnerable secondary.
Greg, it's been 4 years. But does the Jameis Winston angle still play there in Tampa? Because it doesn't feel like it's at the Winston against his former team thing doesn't seem like it's as big a deal now as it was, say, back in 2021, that Halloween game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, I think, they've had the whole Brady era in between. So, the eating W's, some of the celebration Jameis had, it's kind of, it's a novelty to bring it back. There's only, I think I counted 13 guys left on this team that actually played with Winston. It's a decent, it's very much Vita Vea and Levante David and Devin White, Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. So it's the key people he's going with defensively are the same guys that played with him in 19, if not earlier. But no, it's I don't think there's like an anger or anything like that. I mean, I think they want to beat the Saints first and foremost. This is an important division game. It just happens to have the nastiness that is Bucs Saints, and that's Jameis, that's Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore, that's Cameron Jordan versus the offensive line. There's lots of kind of history that goes on anytime these two teams play.
Division rivalries always do. If Todd Bowles has the blueprint for Sunday, how does that look for Tampa to get out of the Dome with a win?
Turnovers. That's definitely what did it last time. I mean, you look at last year's game in New Orleans, it's like a 3-3 game late in the third quarter, maybe even the fourth quarter. And then New Orleans, I think, turns it over 5 times in 6 possessions.
Yeah.
Winston has 3 picks in the fourth quarter, one of which is returned for a touchdown. Those lead to 17 points. That's why they won the game. And it's interesting because, Mayfield and Winston have a lot in common in terms of number 1 overall picks, huge success in college, not the same in the NFL because they haven't been able to keep their interceptions in check. I mean, Winston has as many picks as anybody when he came in the league. Mayfield has as many picks as anybody since he came in the league. So it's really going to come down to which of those guys can avoid turnovers. The Bucs have 5 picks this year as a defense. The Saints have 4. I think there's only 6 teams that have that many picks in the NFL. So it's a game that could lend itself to a lot of turnovers, and chances are the team that wins is the team that avoids them.
Greg, these two teams play here in Week 4. They won't see each other again until Week 17 in Tampa. If I asked you to look into the crystal ball, what do you think? I won't ask you to project New Orleans, but I'll ask you to project Tampa. What do you think Tampa looks like in Week 17?
I don't know. I mean, I think they're more competitive than most people expected. I think Carolina has taken a step back from what people had thought they might be, just dealing with the injuries they have, with the rookie quarterback as they have. Atlanta's 2-1, but I don't know that they've been a real emphatic 2-1. They're still kind of the same concerns that they've had in terms of pass rush and unproven quarterback and those kind of things. So I don't see any of those 4 teams like clinching the division before Week 16, Week 17 when you have these division games at the end of the year. So no, I think it's like I've booked travel for a lot of these weeks, but not the last month of the season because you don't know which teams, especially that last week. I mean, is Bucs Saints the one that has the division on the line, or it somehow is Falcons Panthers the one that has implications? I think it's probably early to know for sure.
Are you a Jared Leto fan?
I am not a Jared Leto fan. I heard that going in, and whatever the vampire movie he just had was really bad. I'm sure he's had some good roles, and not a big one. I don't know if I realized he was as accomplished a singer as he apparently is.
It does not sound like he's an accomplished singer. Actually, it sounds like he's a singer who some people know, but I don't know if we could say accomplished. That might not be the most appropriate adjective. Greg Auman from Fox Sports on Twitter at Greg Auman, AUMAN. Y'all give him a follow, covering the NFC South there, based out of Tampa, covering the Bucs. Hey, Greg, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
All right, you guys take care.
All right, be well. Good stuff there from Greg. It's interesting, but I think his intuition there is right, because it feels like when you get to the end of this regular season, and the NFL has just done a really smart thing, just backloading the schedule with conference games, or excuse me, with division games. So you have a lot of division races that are going to be decided late in the season, and you're going to have more meaningful games. Last week is a great illustration of what we should probably expect throughout the season in this division. You had 3 teams that started 2-0, and every team in the division lost last week. It's probably just how this season's going to go. It's going to be the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's probably just there aren't great quarterbacks in this division. I don't think you can say, honestly, that there are great coaches in this division. And, I think we're going to be looking at a week 16, 17, 18 where a whole bunch of teams are hovering around 8-9, 9-8, just like a year ago. And someone's going to end up winning a week 18 game, winning a divisional tiebreak or something like that to break through. So, but this is for those reasons, obviously, this one's massive for both New Orleans and Tampa. It's a division game, and as we said for New Orleans, not only is it a division game, but it's a division game at home, 3 of your next 4 on the road, and you got a division game at home against a team that's coming off a short week. You got to get this one if you're New Orleans. You got to chalk this. You just got to get this win notched in your belt Sunday at home in the Dome. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Hump Day Show is always brought to you by Pluckers. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Russ Mitchell coming up in about 30 minutes from right now. Lot to do, and glad you're here on AFR.
AFR.
And our Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. If you're going to be maybe staying in tonight, watching a little baseball, you can always punch up the app. Uber Eats, DoorDash, have your wings delivered to your door, or get on by either Pluckers location tonight because every Wednesday is trivia. Both locations, 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. Looking for something to do tonight? Get your team together. Maybe you're an LSU student, you live near campus, get down to that Nicholson location. 8 o'clock on Nicholson, live action trivia. Every team, even if you don't win a round, every team gets to spin the prize wheel, so you're guaranteed to get something. Pluckers gift card, Amazon gift card, prizes from other great retailers around Baton Rouge. It's at Pluckers. Everyone loves trivia. Wednesdays are a great night to get your friends together, get on out, eat some wings, drink some beer, test your knowledge, have some fun, and win some great prizes. It's trivia every Wednesday at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or deliver your home all football season is Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Baton Rouge Police Deputy Chief Troy Lawrence Sr. benched from his job today. He was placed on administrative leave as the department and the feds investigate allegations that people were tortured inside a warehouse known as the Brave Cave. The investigative unit first to break the story about Lawrence's leave this morning. Hear from the lawyer who brought the Brave Cave to light and the implications now. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, we'll do Tigers and the Pros here in a second. Hit Whit Weeks again, Muse, if you would.
So I was real nervous, of course.
So we're doing a Whit Weeks sound. By the way, I think Whit Weeks is the most likable LSU athlete ever, literally in the history of all of LSU athletics. All right, that's a little bit of hyperbole, I get it. But how could you not love this kid who steps in, has just been balling out as a true freshman linebacker, starting in his 3rd career game on the road at Mississippi State. He's done great these last 2 weeks. He met with the media on Tuesday night, and just like the entire 6 minutes he's talking to reporters, he's just smiling ear to ear. Can you play the full cut about him, his first game in Tiger Stadium, if you have it there? Go ahead.
So I was real nervous, of course.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. So I said, who does Whit Weeks sound like? For example, Greg Tyndall, Weeks sounds like everyone that lives in North Louisiana. I'm not sure I go there. Like, I don't think he sounds like Hester. I can't get there.
I will say, look, Will Campbell's got a great accent too.
Yes, Will Campbell's got a great one. Urban Sombrero said Whit Weeks sounds like Morgan Wallen. Maybe we can get a Morgan Wallen. No,
disagree with that, but yeah, I can get one.
Okay. Play the one you have. A lot of people had said he was like the quarterback from Friday Night Lights in the movie.
Yeah, Mike Winchell. So
all right, let's hear Mike Winchell.
This is that.
It's clear.
I have another one too.
I need something longer than that.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I can put them together, but they're just like quick.
Let me hear it.
Think so.
Think so.
I can't even hear what he's saying.
Think so.
Think so?
Think so.
Oh. Anyway, Mike Winchell. Who was the other one people said was Luke Bryan? Yeah.
We can grab this.
After we did that, you still second. After we did that, you still second.
Which one is he?
We mean
is that one person?
That was Luke.
That's two people talking
to
each
each
other.
No, that was Luke Bryan.
After we did that, you still.
Oh, you cut the middle.
Yeah,
you cut something out the middle. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna do better at getting a relevant sound bites views.
It was quick.
I get it. All right. Who does Whit Weeks sound like? Let us know. Right now, Muse has Tigers in the Pros. I thought that was going to go away.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Of course.
It's all right. We can always talk about Aaron Nola.
I was real nervous, of course.
Aaron Nola shoved last night for the Phils, 6 2/3, only gave up 4 hits and a run.
Aaron Nola shoved, of course.
And struck out 8. But he got a no decision because that's just what happens normally when Aaron Nola pitches. But the Phillies got the win, and they did clinch a wild card spot. So Nola back to the postseason.
That's what the Phillies do, of course.
Of course.
They blow great starts by Aaron Nola, of course.
Kevin Gausman also turned in a great start. No, he is from Colorado. 7 shutout against the Yanks. Only walked 2 and struck out 5. He also got a no decision in that ball game, and the Blue Jays ended up losing anyway. Josh Smith. There you go. Now you got one for real there. Yep.
That's 2 for
came off the bench last night. The Rangers taking it on the chin a little bit, but Josh Smith made the most of it. 1 for 2, 2-run shot in the 9th inning, giving him 2 RBIs and a run. Scored his 6th home run of the season. RBIs number 14 and 15 to minor league baseball. Got some playoff action there for you. The Oklahoma City Dodgers, they are in the Pacific Coast League Championship series there. And Hunter Fiducia.
Oh.
Yeah. 1 for 3 in the ball game.
Hunter Fiducia.
1 for 3
I was
in the
locked
ball game.
into this one, Muse.
I'm sure
Watching
you
my
were.
dear
Yeah.
friend.
You couldn't wait.
When he hit that Oppo Jack last night, I was like, look at my boy.
He came off the couch. You were
Look
so excited.
at my dear friend,
Fired
Hunter Fiducia.
up. Solo homer in the
Oppo
6th
Taco.
inning. Into the bullpen.
So proud of him.
His only hit. Did end up driving in a second run.
I was
Walked
proud
in the
of him,
game.
of course.
And scored twice. And the Oklahoma City Dodgers won game 1 there of the Pacific Coast League Championship. The Erie Seawolves beat the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. That gives them their championship that they were going for. Daniel Cabrera in that one was 0 for 3. Did come around to score a run and walked in the ball game. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question, go where Louisiana has gone for 40 years to get engaged. Trust Lee Michaels. Thrill her with a gift in the red box where you always get the Lee Michaels experience, no matter your budget. Don't be intimidated. Just walk into a Lee Michaels near you. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Shout out to my guy Tony King, who on Twitter said Jared Leto was in Fight Club. What was his role in Fight Club? It's been a minute since I've seen Fight Club. I mean, that was a late 90s movie, Fight Club? Yeah, 97-ish, 98. All right. We'll continue. Hour number 3, staring you straight in the face. Come on back, y'all.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, of course. And our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center proudly sponsoring Federalis Fest, great music festival in Baton Rouge coming up a week from Saturday. So Saturday, October the 7th. Tickets are still available. You can get them. Check out the Williamson Eye Center social media. See all the info there at the Williamson Eye Center. Of course, you can always call Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. Set up that free consultation. If you want to see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center can help. I encourage you to do what people in our state have done. And, the Williamson Eye Center's opened their doors 76 years ago now. It's the Williamson Eye Center. You want to see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center can help. So call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. And, of course, you can check out the Federalis Fest. They're the title sponsor of Federalis Fest coming up on October the 7th, Saturday, October the 7th in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up and down on my last dime. Come home in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infinity Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A couple of weeks after Giannis Antetokounmpo said he wanted to see an organization all in on winning, the Bucs made a huge move to do just that. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Milwaukee's acquiring Damian Lillard from Portland in a 3-team trade. Deal also includes Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton to Portland, Yusuf Nurkic among 4 players going to Phoenix. By adding Lillard, the Bucs, the odds-on favorite now to win the NBA title. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
This team is not only favored of coming out of the Eastern Conference right now and is going to win the East, but this team stay healthy with the pieces they already have. Adding Damian Lillard to this roster, they're going to win the NBA championship.
Much more on this story throughout the night on ESPN Radio. Michigan State's fired football coach Mel Tucker for cause. He's under university investigation for a sexual misconduct complaint. By firing him for cause, Michigan State's attempting to not pay Tucker any of the nearly $79 million remaining on his contract. Panthers QB Bryce Young on track to return from a sprained ankle Sunday against Minnesota, barring a setback.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Russ Mitchell in 15 minutes from right now. I forgot it's hump day. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I totally got a lot to do. Let's do this quickly. Let's go.
It's hump day.
Russ Mitchell in 15 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Whit Weeks, most likable LSU athlete ever. Whit Weeks, great accent.
It's hump day.
Play the accent muse.
So I was really nervous, of course.
We asked people, who does Whit Weeks sound like?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Muse gave us a half-a-second soundbite of some guy.
It's clear.
Bradley said, LOL, come on, Moose. How the hell could you compare that soundbite? He whispered one word. Great point.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Thank you, Bradley. Jared Leto.
It's hump day.
Overrated.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Jared Leto.
Hump day.
From Bossier.
It's hump day.
Jared Leto.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
In a bad band.
Hump day.
Did someone say Jared Leto sounded like Whit Weeks? Is that one?
It's hump day.
Is that, how did we start bringing up Jared Leto?
Overrated or underrated?
Oh, you asked if he was overrated or underrated.
Mike.
Why,
what day is it, Mike?
What prompted you to put him on the list today?
He popped up in Twitter or something. Okay. I don't know. Or no. What it was, I saw an Instagram reel with 30 Seconds to Mars with a song in there, and I was like, Jared Leto. He did a lot of things.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot to do this hour. Let's get cranking. I'm going to address this very quickly just because so many of you have asked this question. I have been asked almost an absurd amount whether or not the Saints should sign La'el Collins. Okay. So by the way, there has been no indication from the Saints that they are interested in signing La'el Collins. They have not worked him out. As best we can tell, I have not seen any reports that they have contacted him or his representatives. If you're not familiar, of course, La'el Collins played at LSU, would have been a first-round pick, but an awful draft day scenario that unfolded about him being a person of interest in a murder of an ex-girlfriend, of which he had literally nothing to do with, but there was a Protect the Shield edict that went out from the commissioner's office, and so he went undrafted. Signed with the Dallas Cowboys, became one of the best left guards in the NFL early in his career. Ultimately, they would move him to right tackle. He became a Pro Bowl right tackle. He's a great player. But he's battled a lot of injuries in his career. He signed as a free agent with Cincinnati and suffered a season-ending knee injury last year, torn ACL and MCL. He's declared healthy, but he did not make the Bengals. They cut him, so he's a free agent, and he's available right now. So a lot of people have said, hey, the Saints' offensive line stinks. Should they go sign La'el Collins? No. The Saints should not go sign La'el Collins. When he was healthy and earlier in his career, he was an elite left guard. There were some Cowboy fans who were drawing comparisons early in La'el Collins' career to Larry Allen. Larry Allen's a Hall of Famer. Okay, that's how good La'el was early in his career at left guard. That should come as no surprise. He was a dominant player at LSU and would have been a first-round draft pick, but for what happened around draft day. He became a very good right tackle. Probably should have been an all-pro in 2019. He was awesome. But he's had a myriad of injuries throughout his career in the NFL. Back injuries, foot injuries, last year, the torn ACL, MCL. So you have a guy that's 30 years old that he's played in 89 career games, but only twice has he played a full season, and that was in 2017 and 2018. And look, last year started 15 games for the Bengals before tearing his ACL and MCL. But when you have a guy that's later in his career that has been injury prone and is coming off a really significant knee injury, it's hard to justify, especially the two positions he's played in the NFL. Right tackle, the Saints have $100 million invested in Ryan Ramczyk as their starting right tackle, who, when he's healthy and playing well, is arguably the best right tackle in football. And while nobody had a great day against Green Bay, one of the very encouraging things Jermon Bushrod told us yesterday is that he thinks that Ramczyk, the first couple of weeks of the season, actually played really well. Everybody took their turn having bad moments against Green Bay. Okay, so Collins is not going to play right tackle. Could he play left guard? Well, here's the problem with that. You've got Hurst playing left guard. And you can say, well, bless you, Cesar Ruiz has a concussion, and they move Hurst to right guard, and Andrews Pete goes in at left guard. Cool. By the way, Andrews Pete came into the league the same year that La'el Collins did. There was a lot of people upset that the Saints didn't draft Collins in that spot when he was falling and instead took Andrews Pete. Anyway, but you used the first-round pick on Andrews Pete. He's still on the roster, and he's been here. He's got timing with Eric McCoy. Like, he's had reps with this offense. He knows the offense. Like, he's your backup left guard. And behind him, You've got Nick Saldiveri, who you just used a 4th-round pick on out of Old Dominion. He made this team, and he is a guy you feel really good about being a future starter as an interior player in this offensive line. My point is the 2 spots that La'el Collins could play are right tackle, which he's not going to play because that's Ryan Ramczyk, and left guard, which you've got a logjam there where Hurst won the job. Pete, a former first-round pick, is the backup. And then you've got Saldiveri, a 4th-round pick this year, who you're betting on the come as well. So where do you put him? There doesn't, like, aging veteran, 30 years old, coming off a devastating knee injury, and the 2 positions he plays, you don't really have an avail on this roster. So, no, I don't think that makes a lot of sense for New Orleans to try to sign La'el Collins. Even if you were looking to sign a player, I'm not sure that's the player that you would look for. I would be very excited to see La'el come to New Orleans because he's a Baton Rouge guy who was a great LSU Tiger. He sort of turned around started that turnaround of guys deciding to stay for their senior years because, as we've talked about, there was this run where everyone recruited by LSU that was an elite prospect. It was just 3 and done, 3 into the league. And La'el came back for his senior year. It was awesome in his senior year. And it didn't work out for him in the draft like we just talked about, but that started the process of guys like Tre'Davious White and Ethan Posick and guys like that coming back for their senior season. So I pull for La'el. I just don't see the fit in New Orleans. It doesn't make sense right now for the Saints. So a lot of people have asked about La'el Collins. To me, it doesn't make sense, and the Saints haven't even shown an interest of bringing in offensive linemen to work them out. It feels like you've got this unit of players. You've just got to get them playing better. All right, it's after further review. Russ Mitchell's coming up here in less than 5 minutes. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Remember, if you are in the market for tires, buy the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. That's Shaw Bills. And the thing about Shaw Bills that always sets them apart, aside from getting the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, is their customer service. I tell you about it all the time. Shaw Bills has been in business since 1968. And you don't need a history lesson here, but when Mr. Charlie opened up Shaw Bills back in 1968, their focus was going to be on customer service and treating people right. That's why they have the Charlie's Dozen. When you buy tires at Shaw Bills, it's a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family. At Shaw Bills, you go to the website, they have what they call their Customer Bill of Rights. It's things that you as a customer are entitled to every time you walk into Shaw Bills. You don't hear that all the time when it comes to automotive centers, right? It's always the case at Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. All right. Normally we do around the SEC Pluckers Trivia at the bottom of the hour, but we got Russ for 2 segments. Do we have time to do it now, or should we try? Okay, I'm used to saying no. All right, we'll hold off on Pluckers Trivia. We'll try to get it in later. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We got 2 segments with Russ. We'll recap this past weekend in the league, and we'll look ahead to a weekend chock full of SEC action where every team in the league is in conference play. So 7 conference games this weekend. We'll preview all of it with Russ Mitchell from College Football News when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, fall is here, and it is a perfect time to get by Clegg's Nursery. Go pick up that fall decor. They've got it. They got more than anybody else at Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every single day. They've got fall bedding plants. They've got wind chimes. They've got all the fall decor if you want door decorations or garden decorations. If you want pumpkins, hay bales, squash, gourds, they have got an abundance of fall decor and new decor arriving daily right now at Clegg's Nursery. So get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Beautify the exterior of your home, that front porch, that back patio. If it's your office building, if whatever it might be that you're trying to really get into the fall style, Clegg's has all the decor that you need. It's Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires.
Russ!
Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
If they give you a nickname, you're good.
Rusty, come on up here.
I'm getting tired of saying Tigers. There's too many Tigers in the league already.
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
You know, I mean, they're going to run this kid around like a rented step-headed mule.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
I'm a guy who spends all day breaking down Kentucky football.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
And I'm calling you out, man. We'll cut this clip and send it out there to Spurrier and the fellas.
It's like Troy.
Take it, Russ.
All right, let's do it. Russ Mitchell, college football news joins us. How are you?
Oh, kicking the tires, lighting the fires, baby.
We got good news for you.
I'll take all the good news you want to give me.
So Russ was our celebrity guest picker on. What are we? Wait, hang on one second. What are we doing? Are we pulling this screen up or no? Or are we just going audio? Hey, hang on. Okay, there we go. All right, Russ. For some reason, you have two screens open. For I don't know.
I see.
That's
I could try. I see them. I could. This is, I don't know about all this technology thing.
Okay, well, you got two screens open. I don't know, Paul, if there's a way you can crop that or whatever you can do, but I don't care. It sounds great.
Oh!
There we go. Okay, great. Perfect. That's better, and it sounds great, so our radio audience is going to be thrilled with this. So Russ was our celebrity guest picker on Friday, and I'm happy to report that after a 9-1 weekend, Russ Mitchell is now in first place among our celebrity guest pickers. And you bitched and complained about the week and a hard to get, blah, 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 blah. Just trust yourself and pick the games, huh? Hey, our glut of radio audience can't hear you holding up hands, by the way.
I see. That was 9 fingers, boys and girls. 9.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Although you did get so freaking lucky with Florida State. Oh, my God.
Oh, good God.
You did! Come on, man. Kid misses a 30-yard. He got a scoop and score and missed a 30-yard field goal. College kicker missed a 30-yard field goal.
First of all, don't wager on children. They'll always break your heart. Second of all, don't go pulling kids off. It's like kicker is still a position on the football team. You still need a kicker. You can't just go grab kids from New York and be like, hey, can you kick for me? If you do, crap like that happens to you.
But Dabo's son said, he still got eligibility, Dad. What could go wrong?
I like him.
Oh, man. The best line, I think it was Sean McDonough. I think it was Sean McDonough was watching the game, and was it McElroy who said it's like the writers, it's like a Hollywood movie, and McDonough goes, yeah, well, the writers are on strike. It was so and the kid missed the field goal. That was a great line. Hey, what was your takeaway from big picture takeaway from LSU Arkansas?
Do we have to start right there?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Can you break a brother in easy? I heard T-Bob, who's hilarious on that show you do after, man. Look, winning is all that really matters. But, look, this team is, I really want to think. I know I heard what the coach said before the season, but I believe this team is certainly offensively. It's there to win the national championship. You're not winning a national championship with this team. Not going to happen. You're not winning a national championship with that defense. It's not going to happen.
Well, the good news is...
Do you realize LSU's run defense right now, do you know what it is in conference? Yards per attempt?
Yeah, I looked it up the other day. 13th? 12th.
Dead last. Dead last.
Or is that yards
behind
per attempt?
Vandy?
We're looking up total. No, we're looking at pass defense.
No, yards per attempt. That's the only thing that matters. Behind Vandy. Pass defense, by the way. Behind Vandy. Pass defense, not much better. 11th in yards per attempt. Meanwhile, in the bizarro world we live in, LSU is third in rushing. It's second in passing for the number one total offense in the SEC. What have you done to my team, man? What is going on down there? You're supposed to be good at defense and just okay at offense, not the other way around.
It's the year 2023. I'm good winning with offense. That's what you do in 2023. So,
well, you're not winning a championship with this defense.
So I pointed this out before the year started, Russ. In the CFP era, there have only been two national champions that had a pass defense that were in the top 15 nationally. As a matter of fact, 2019 LSU, do you know where they ranked nationally in pass defense?
No.
59.
But, I mean, all right, well, great. Because I tell you what, if you reincarnate.
2020 Bama was 70th in pass defense.
You
know what those two teams did? They scored a crap load of points.
Yeah. If you can score like every single time you touch the ball, then I guess you don't even need a defense. You can get the kicker from Clemson and bring him back down from New York and let him play safety for you. I guess doesn't matter.
Well, it is interesting, though, because while LSU squeaks past Arkansas, Bama and Ole Miss were in a dogfight, a 7-6 game at half, and then Ole Miss just decided they weren't going to score anymore. So, what is
Ole Miss?
Do they stink?
They're really bad up front, man. And you pointed this out. You've been pointing this out since the Tulane game, and you're spot on. They're bad up front and they're thin, which is like being bad and bad. They're bad in the trenches. And we'll get to see that this weekend. We can talk about that in the next segment, but you're not going to win a lot of football in the SEC if you're bad in the trenches.
We're going to,
you pointed out, you can win if you have, a transcendent talent like Joe Burrow or Tua. You can win with bad pass defenses. You can't win without being able to win in the trenches, particularly offense and defense. So, that was glaringly apparent down in Tuscaloosa.
Two more things from last week, and I want to make sure we have plenty of time because we had a full slate. Every team in the league is in conference play this week. So in our second segment, we're going to get to a little bit of a preview. But Connor Wegman's done for the year, man, the quarterback from A&M. Yep. So it's Max Johnson now. How much does that affect? Do you feel like that affects A&M?
Well, I mean, if they were good and had a chance, maybe it would. But, it's more, the bigger question is, how does it affect Jimbo's career? First of all, Max Johnson, who I think he's been reclassified now as a high school senior, right? How many extra years of eligibility does that cat have?
So he did classify because of he took advantage of the COVID year, and so he's reclassified as like a third-year sophomore now.
Don't go explaining the jokes, man.
No. For the audience, for the audience that doesn't know, I get it, but there's a lot of people who don't know that happened. So Max has 2 years remaining, actually.
After this year, yeah.
Correct.
He's okay. He's good. He's just not great. You're not going to win a championship, and you're not going to win games against the elite teams in the SEC or the elite teams in any conference for that matter. And, maybe you could if you dropped him on a team that was really, really good. And all he had to do was be good. But they're not. They're an average team at best. That they're struggling in a number of different facets. They truly need Now, the bigger question is he that much of a drop-off from Connor Wegman, where he is right now? No, I don't think so. I think Connor's better. But and Connor certainly has more upside, which is what makes this injury so disappointing for Texas A&M. Just for Texas A&M, but and the Wegman family. But I don't think you lose that much in switching to Max, and other than the extra year of experience for Connor.
Who is more real, 4-0 Kentucky or 4-0 Missouri?
Well, I mean, I would only say that's such a tough question. That is such a tough question. Can I say no?
I just said who is. I didn't say are there. I said who is more real.
No. I mean, Kentucky, the hardest team Kentucky has played so far is Vandy.
Okay.
And they gave up almost 30 points to Vandy. So I'm hardly on the Kentucky bandwagon, right?
Okay.
But Mizzou, say what you will, but they're not turning the ball over, which they've done in years past. The defense isn't allowing anybody to run. Not the greatest pass defense, but the defensive front seven is strong. So, and they've been ultra consistent. So I'd say Mizzou.
Okay. LSU will be in Como a week from Saturday at 11 a.m.
Plus, they got the thick kicker who can kick the ball from from Kansas.
Bro, dude made a 61-yarder. I mean, yeah,
dude,
respect.
That's a long way, man. Have you ever stood on a football field and looked that far?
Yes,
actually, the uprights look really skinny, man. When you're standing 61 yards away from the uprights, you can block them with your finger. That's how far away 61 yards is. He kicked the ball through a finger. That's accurate.
Oh my God. All right, just stay there. We're going to go to break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to preview this weekend in the SEC. Missouri gets Vandy, by the way, this week. I'm sure Russ will have a take on that. Stay with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. I've been so excited to tell you about the Renaissance, in particular Tallulah, inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Awesome. It's a casual, upscale dining experience. Chef Jason Hebert has done an awesome job with that menu. At the Baton Rouge Epicurean Society's Fête Rouge a couple of weeks ago, he won the gold medal at Fête Rouge. An incredible dish. Point is, this isn't just like a hotel buffet, right? This is a South Louisiana culinary experience there at the Renaissance. It's beautiful weather now. You want to go enjoy that cocktail or glass of wine on the patio around dusk. It's a great time to go do it. Hey, if you're looking for dinner reservations, or if you're looking to have dinner on the weekends at Tallulah, you need reservations now. The secret is out. It's Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel, and of course, they're always happy to host your event at the Renaissance.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, we got Russ Mitchell with us, college football news, SEC writer on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. 9-1 last week as our guest picker. Russ now in the lead. The only part he can only be beaten if you go perfect. So he has set the bar for our guest pickers for the remainder of the season. Hey, this weekend, 7 conference games. If you could only watch one of them based on its intrigue, merit, etc., which would it be?
Let the record reflect that the only reason I was 9-1 was because I refused to pick A&M.
I forgot about that. You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
So I get a little credit for that.
And the only reason you were at 8-2 is because a freaking kicker missed a 30-yard chip shot.
Don't go picking kickers from Wall Street.
Well, don't go picking your games based on emotion.
If I had to watch any game this week, and there's a lot of exciting ones, it'd probably be LSU-Ole Miss. I think the other one, just in terms of, I really think the A&M Arkansas game is going to be a lot of fun. Those games tend to be lots of fun. And I think Arkansas comes out of the loss in Baton Rouge feeling pretty good about themselves right now and how they played down to the wire. So I think that'll be an exciting game.
So A&M Arkansas, who do you think wins?
You know, the Arkansas's run defense couldn't hold up against LSU, and we saw that in the Auburn A&M game when Max came in, and he threw for 2 touchdowns, but he struggled a little bit. They ran the ball, and they just pounded on an Auburn run defense, which is terrible. So, you know, I guarantee you, Jimbo watched that tape and looked at how LSU was able to run against Arkansas and is thinking, yeah, we're going to do that as well. So it comes down to KJ. Can he be as dynamic as he was on the road in Baton Rouge last week? I think, yeah. So I'm going to take the Hogs over A&M.
You downplayed Kentucky's 4-0 in the last segment. And Florida's really interesting because after beating Tennessee, there are some people looking and go, well, maybe they're better than what they showed against Utah in that opener. This is a virtual pick'em. It's an 11 a.m. Central game. Kentucky's a 1-point favorite. I mean, it's a virtual pick'em there at home.
Yeah.
Are you
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Kentucky always, I mean, I shouldn't say always, but you know how State always, not this year, but State typically plays LSU and Alabama well. They don't usually win, but they play physical, tough football, or historically have. Kentucky seems to play Florida, often plays them well. I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. Florida has benefited by playing some tough games already on their schedule. Playing in Utah is tough. You saw what Utah did to UCLA this weekend. Good Lord, that defense is fantastic. Meanwhile, you know, Mertz has played really well. He's been terrific. He's completing almost 80% of his passes. They've got the number 1 pass defense in the SEC. They stuffed Tennessee. Their run defense hasn't allowed anybody to run for more than 3.5 yards, including Utah up in the mountains. And Kentucky may have been fine offensively, but they haven't played anybody. I realize it's on the road, but I like the Gators in this one.
You said Florida number 1 pass defense in the SEC?
Number one pass defense in the SEC.
Corey Raymond, come home. Come back. Corey Raymond. No comment. Did I lose him?
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I said Corey Raymond, come home. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
There we go. I said Corey Raymond, come home. Come back.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Oh my gosh.
But I love all my children the same.
That's not true at all. That is it has a bald-faced lie as you sit there with a Y.A. Tittle jersey behind you, knowing full well that you're coming to Baton Rouge this year for the LSU-Florida game, and knowing full well how you feel about Foley and the Gators. You do not love all of your children the same. That is a lie that you're perpetuating now, year in and year out on this show, because we all know it to be dishonest.
First of all, if you repeat something loud enough and long enough, everybody will believe it. Second of all, it may be true that the first phrase I taught my baby daughter was "Boo Gators." That is that's a rumor. That's a bad rumor.
So South Carolina at Tennessee and Bama at Mississippi State. They look intriguing because they might be, but I'm not sure that they actually will be. Bama's a 14.5-point favorite. Tennessee's an 11.5-point favorite. Or any thought that either of those could end up being more interesting than the prognosticators would suggest?
No. South Carolina, I like how Rattler's been playing. Actually, his interceptions have slowed. Both of his interceptions this year came against Georgia. And one of them, I think, if I remember correctly, was late in the game. And he's hitting almost like 3/4 of his passes. They've got the SEC's top passing attack. So I'm really impressed with Rattler. But did you see their defense against State last week. Their defense gave up 500 passing yards against State.
What
Y'all
happened?
gave up like 100 passing yards the week before, and they gave up 500 on the road. So I think Tennessee will just throw the ball all over South Carolina. Meanwhile, it looks like Alabama's, they still have some issues, but Milroe, he's clearly their starting quarterback. He completed 80% of his passes, 225 yards. The running game was fine. Their defense, Alabama's defense kind of showed life in that game. Did really well on their defense is doing really well on third down conversions. I always look at that. Meanwhile, State is dead last in converting on third downs. That's what we call in the business bad matchup. So I like Alabama in this one.
Do we need to talk about Georgia Auburn?
Sure, because it's going to be fun.
Why?
Just because, the season, it just might be over for Georgia now. Apparently they've collapsed with only the 17th best defense in the country and the number one SEC scoring defense. God willing, this taped together ragtag defense can go up against the vaunted Auburn Tigers, who right now have the SEC's worst passing offense and second worst rushing offense. Quarter of the way into the season, Auburn's, I know. Auburn's, I got to get used to this camera thing, man. This is a different thing, this camera thing. Worst passing offense, second worst rushing offense. So, I think Georgia's fine.
By the way, Georgia, though, has played Ball State, UT Martin, South Carolina, and UAB. It's not like it's going to get much more difficult. I get their schedule is a total breather this year, but I'm going to be interested when they're tested. Eventually, that'll happen somewhere. Maybe it's in the playoff. Maybe it's in Atlanta. They're going to be tested eventually, and then we'll know what they really are, right? That's fair to say.
When you're the two-time defending national champion and half of your team is playing in the NFL from last year, you get the credit that other teams don't get when they don't play anymore.
I get it. There's a lot of guys on those teams that aren't in Athens anymore, so they still got to do it. But I get it. That's fair. Okay, LSU-Ole Miss. Give me the matchup to watch Saturday in Oxford.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think, what's the spread in this?
2.5 LSU.
Their pass defense has not been very good. And if I'm going into that game, I'm really, really worried about LSU's defense. It's run defense being so poor. It's pass defense not being much better. But this Ole Miss team has been spotty at parts, and they just are horrific in the trenches. So I have faith in LSU's passing offense. I have faith in Jalen's ability to be able to execute. This wide receiving core is really playing lights out. I love how LSU can bring in deep rotation, both with its running backs, but also in the line, on the defensive line. It hasn't been as effective in run defense, but I think that will wear down this team. At the end of the day, you don't beat teams like LSU if you can't control the trenches, and Ole Miss can't control the trenches. So I like LSU on the road.
He is Russ Mitchell, college football news. Hey, man. He was 9-1 last week, and the hefty kicker made it through a finger. Thank you, as always, for the time. I will look forward to doing it again next week.
Talk to you guys later.
See ya. Russ Mitchell, College Football News, on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. Good enough to join us every single Wednesday here. Talk about the weekend that was and the weekend that will be in the league. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. You can get it. They service all scale and measurement equipment, makes and models. I love their, if you don't follow them on LinkedIn, you really should. A lot of their business content is fantastic for so many of the industries. This is in particular talking to those of you who work in many of the industries that Michele services with its aerospace or aggregates, agriculture, food and beverage. I had a great post today about it was a facility, a bread facility that makes and packages bread, and about how weighing the bread and the different ingredients and having it on the conveyor belt and the packaging, all of that equipment has to be serviced and measured, and Michele does it all. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com. Check them out online, Michele.com, Michele.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Been a really good show. Thanks for being here. If you missed anything, you can catch AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. We did celebrate Tre'Quan Smith, his tenure in New Orleans ending. We did talk last hour about Jake Lutton, the quarterback, being added to the New Orleans Saints. Talked about Lyle Collins as a possibility earlier this hour. Russ Mitchell, Greg Auman, who covers the NFC South, based out of Tampa, long time covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, yeah, he was here last hour. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time today at golf.breck.org and check out AFR On Demand. Just go to your favorite podcast app and search After Further Review. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. There it is right there. And, of course, we've got the AFR YouTube channels as well. Let me knock out a final break of the show. Y'all will come back. Jimmy will be here for a little Odd-a-Locks. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. One of the things that I mention often that so many of you comment on now is when I say, when you're driving around town, just keep an eye out for how many of those big yellow vans and trucks that you see with the giant clock on the side driving all over town. And you see them all over the place because so many of your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 Hour Air the same way that I do. What is background for so many just gets pushed to the foreground, and you can't help but see those vans and trucks all over town. Tyronda Thomas left this 5-star Google review about Britton, who's been to my house. Britton was on time and found out why my AC wasn't working properly almost immediately upon inspection. He fixed the problem quickly, great service, and always very friendly. River City's 1 Hour Air. Give them a buzz today if you have an issue with your AC. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable of an incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
How about that Cubs?
Oh, God. Hey, man, you could have let me know you were hedging. Come on, man.
I know.
Do your boy a favor. I mean, we had a play on the Cubs last night. They were up 6-0. They ended up losing the game. Jimmy, after the Braves have completed the comeback, sends me a screenshot of him hedging at 6-1 and ends up having a pretty nice payout on the game, while the rest of us suckers are sitting at home taking the L.
I need to correct you. It was 9-1. So
my bad. 9-1. My apologies.
Yes, I mean, and it's part of some people. It's kind of split. Some gamblers will hedge, and try and just produce profitability, secure profitability. I love when you have a middle, and there's a difference between a hedge and a middle. But in others, like Calucci, hedging for bushes. I mean, will not absolutely. It's preseason hockey, by the way, so that's just around the corner.
That's so good.
But in and I could see Steele was kind of laboring, so he was lights out. It's 6-1, so they got a couple guys on, and I get it at that point. But sorry, and it's no way to do it here. I don't do social media picks. People are too mean on there. So anyway,
why do you worry about what people say on social media? Who cares?
I know. But I'd rather not. This is what I do, and I give it pre-flop, and away we go. So the Phillies, they clinched their playoff berth last night, defending National League champs, and they're down 3-0 tonight to the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. So, who else clinched on that miss, the whiff fly ball? By the way, the two runs, the game tying and game winning run scored on the right fielder who just whiffed on a fly ball, routine fly ball. But that gave Milwaukee the division, the National League Central. They celebrated the champagne. They give everybody off the next day. So we're going with St. Louis at a plus price, plus 114 right now at DraftKings.
Okay.
So Milwaukee with Wade Miley out there, so they're done. Now, a team that's playing for a lot tonight is Texas. Texas has a 2.5 game lead over the Houston Astros, and they play the Angels tonight on the road. Got beat up pretty good, but they threw out a pitcher that was just almost like they kind of sacrificed that game. They're coming back tonight on the run line is minus 1.5 plus 100 with the Texas Rangers. And
wait, I'm sorry. The Rangers are playing the Angels tonight.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Angels. Where did I say that? The Astros?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Astros in Seattle on my mind because that's the other pivotal game in the American League West tonight.
So we're taking the Rangers on the money line, or we laying a 1.5?
Rangers run line. Minus 1.5 plus 100. $1.62 is just too much. And you know who is great when it doesn't count? They're 0-12 in extra inning games this year. They're 7-23 in one-run games. So And their closer said, "Oh, what do you want me to do, everything, and pitch the 8th inning also?" That's my beloved San Diego Padres. So they are really good when nothing's on the line, and that's the case tonight at San Francisco. They will smash Sean Manaea tonight, minus 108 at DraftKings, the Padres.
All right. So the Otter, St. Louis on the money line, Texas on the run line, and San Diego on the money line as well. By the way, I'll point out, we talk about DraftKings all the time. They have a no-sweat bet. I say it all the time. Go to the DraftKings app at the top. If you opt in, they have a no-sweat bet. Basically, if you lose, you get your bet back in a bonus bet. So would highly recommend if you're looking to bet on MLB, do it on DraftKings. They got a no-sweat MLB bet there at the top. Just opt in and you can use it.
What's the amount on that, Matt? Do you know?
I mean, I could read through the terms. I'm trying to see if there's a limit to it. Up to $10. So you can make it. Yeah, you can make it.
Okay.
So
all right, there you go.
It's worth doing
No
if you're
sweat.
1 minute
remaining. If it's like my boy Hanny says, if it's free, it's for me. Come on, baby.
All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We are downtown at Jolie Pearl in Town Square Pizza. And keep in mind, all of those little bonuses. Every professional handicapper I know, a professional gambler, they use them all. So definitely take advantage of those.
All right, Otter, we appreciate it, man. Thank you. Good luck tonight.
Bye.
All right, that is Jimmy. I catch Jimmy and Charlie weekdays. That'll do it for us here on a Wednesday edition of AFR. Of course, Pluckers Trivia tonight at Pluckers, Nicholson, and Blue Bonnet. 7:30 Nicholson. 7:30 Blue Bonnet. 8 o'clock Nicholson for trivia. Muse, you got let off the hook tonight because Russ went long, so we didn't get to the Pluckers Trivia. We'll get to it next week. All right, that'll do it for us. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it again, as always. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Y'all have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 3 for a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Getting on down the road, let me remind you about Traction. TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. You want your son or daughter to reach their absolute best in whatever sport it is they play. Traction can help. You know, I've told you about Traction over the years, going into Traction and seeing professional athletes from so many different sports who maybe played collegiately in Louisiana and they come back to train, or even athletes who didn't play collegiately here, but by virtue of their travels throughout the country in different places have met people or have found out about Traction. They'll come train here in the off season. They'll even come rehab injuries. Told you there was a really cool picture Traction over the summer where there was an NFL player for the Packers and a young football player from here in the Baton Rouge area. They took a picture side by side at Traction Physical Therapy because they were both rehabbing the same injury, both there at the same facility. It's Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com to learn more right there on Burbank. Traction, where champions are made.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the need